Operation 8 is releasing this summer. Source 2 is on the way, and Valve is experimenting with the competitive meta. Following the Perfect World Chinese announcement event and the yearly company-wide retreat to Hawaii, the Counter-Strike team has released an update to the game that has surprised much of the community. The Perfect World client version of Counter-Strike has been known about for over a year, and the idea of a successful CSGO in the Chinese gaming market is great. The more successful the game is, the more likely it will receive frequent community events and updates. And with the fact of Valve preparing the game for a new market, Valve's recent behavior makes more sense. The over a year gap between operations seems to be the result of one of the largest being made, not only to appease the awaiting fans, but also to show off to the newly acquired player base. And that brings us to the recent Perfect World Expo. First, official public servers in Perfect World are 128 tick, along with the official anti-cheat being incredibly severe, connected to China's Alipay credit system, meaning that when a player is banned, that specific human being is banned. A competitive league titled CPL was created, along with the beta beginning on the 18th of this month. The presentation ends with 3 lines, the best translation I can find being, quote, Source 2 and panoramic UI ends the next big operation this summer. Now, to clear up some misunderstandings, only the next operation is confirmed for this summer, not the engine improvements. Also, Panorama UI is Valve's UI framework that allows for most game content to be integrated into the UI and HUD. Dota 2 uses it, and it likely signals to a UI redesign following the push to Source 2. Also, summer ends on September 23rd in China. Keep that in mind. The following day, an update was pushed fronted by a blog post titled Volver, with the focus being the reintroduction of the Negev and R8 into competitive play. Now, the only changes with the Negev being that it now costs $2,000, and the R8 costing $700. The blog states that this incredibly low price is only a starting point for testing, and will change according to the data Valve gets. However, a $2,000 Negev will temporarily upend the current meta, especially in lower level play.
I think it's interesting. I like to see where Valve goes with it, and I don't think it's something that anybody could have predicted. And when people respond so quickly to it, either very positively or very negatively, I just don't know how they can do that. I'm quite a cautious person, I think, and I like to look at these changes to try and speculate about them, but I understand that no one can really say how it will turn out until it does, which could take weeks or months, and several other changes before it's in its final form.
Well, in terms of, you said the competitive, points, like how they reintroduced the Ari and the Negev back into competitive play. I feel like they did that because there's not really any other way they can test these things. There's no kind of casual 5v5. I remember that got shot up to Reddit whenever that update came out. Someone says, like, this is why we need, casual 5v5, because they couldn't get any, good data out of just, normal play. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious to me that the Negev is not going to stay at $2,000. They said this is a starting point, and they're going to work their way up from that. So I guess they went with an extreme, and they're going to see where it can go.
Though it's just for the sake of experimentation, and Valve is probably either going to remove it or nerf the price up. My personal opinion on it is that it's really good to try to bring new elements to Counter-Strike without really massively changing the gameplay. Even though the Negev is a completely different weapon from what it used to be, I don't really think it affected Counter-Strike's gameplay as a whole. It just introduced a new sort of tactic. Gearbox is going to do that, and everyone who actually attempted to, have their go at Counter-Strike kind of did that or attempted to do that in some sort of way.
I was a big fan of Counter-Strike Source, and I was very sad when it stopped getting updates about 2 years after it was released. And CSGO is just so much more healthy, and I love that Valve is paying attention to it. I don't honestly care about the changes, as long as there are changes and they're not, I don't know, Revolver.
In terms of the actual Negev rework as to what they're trying to accomplish, there wasn't any real use for the LMGs. They were mostly just, hey, I have an absurd amount of money in its last round. I'll just buy up and tease my opponents with it. They're trying to make it actually a viable option to be used in game, and I'm not opposed to that. But what I am opposed to is they went so extreme with this design. It's generally something I've noticed with Valve whenever they introduce either new weapons or redesign. They tend to go all out in one direction. So instead of just saying there's just very little recoil whenever you're controlling at the top of the spread. In this case, there's none. It requires no player control whatsoever. You get to the top of the spray pattern, you just stay there.
I actually find other people's responses to the Negev quite interesting, like how ESL, they pulled it from the league, and everyone was like, oh no, everyone's everyone's going to be using in the Negev, but then no one really used it. I loaded up Counter-Strike and hardly saw anybody using it. And then I tried and I was like, oh, I understand why no one's using it.
This update also pushes official Chinese servers, and the Perfect World client introduces low violent variants of the cartel skins. Something that has been going on for months now, as many skins have needed to be changed for the Chinese market. And now with the confirmation of summer 2017 for the next operation, it is safe to assume that all leaks within the last month may be closer to final than originally believed. Valve only has a few months, and seeing as they set a release date for themselves in a large presentation in a market they wish to impress, they will likely have to attempt to stick to it. So you know what this means? Co-op strike, bank heists, TV stations, a new sniper rifle, and more. Something we can all assume that will be in the next update is skins. Essentially, every form of cosmetics will be new at some point, and regardless of your opinions on these cosmetic paid additions, they are not going anywhere. And there are now ways of getting some of these pieces of content free of charge, not including the official drop systems. And that includes the sponsor of today's video, skinsilo.com. This site gives users videos, surveys, and tasks to earn points, which then can be exchanged for skins and knives. Skins on the site value from as low as a few hundred points to thousands, so anyone wanting to work towards some free skins, use my referral code PAIDSPRAYS for 250 points. Top users go up on the site-wide leaderboard, and the top also earn bonus. There are a few other easy ways to earn points, so check out the rewards section on the site down in the description below and see what you can get. It's free skins, you know, there's no strings or gambling, it's just free skins. Go watch some videos and get some free skins. It's like free skins are better than paid skins, right? And also I'd like to apologize for my lack of content recently. I had a lot of stuff happen and I'm just trying to play catch up over the last couple of days. My semester will be over in like a week and a half, and once that's over, it's going to be just crazy, just videos and streams constantly. You're going to get a lot of content from me, and I have a lot held back just because of all the events recently, and I'm just trying to catch up. So thank you very much for watching. I'm Tyler McVicker. This is Valve News Network. Have a good day. Adios.